This video is definitely going to be more informal than my normal videos are. I don't have a script in front of me right now, and really the target audience is more people who watch the channel all the time, maybe even who would consider themselves fans of Ready to Harvest, because I'm going to ask you a few things in this video to see if there's a couple areas that you might be able to help me out with. And really that's for people who like the channel enough that they'd consider doing something like that. Now, I do have a lot of projects that I'm always working on Ready to Harvest, and really what I want to talk about in this video is one that I've been working on for maybe a couple of months at this point, and one that's just popped up in the last week. And I have videos that I've started a few years ago and just kind of put aside, and then I've picked them back up and finished them. I actually just did that a couple of weeks ago, where I had a video that I'd forgotten I even started, and I opened my project file on that and was surprised to see how much was written. I was like, I need to finish this up. This is actually a great topic. And anyhow, the project that just popped up this last week is actually on a denomination. One of my earlier videos, it's been several years ago, I made a video on Iglesia Ni Cristo, which is a Philippine non-Trinitarian denomination. It's actually the third largest religious group in the Philippines after the Catholic Church and Islam. It's the next largest one there. And so I decided to make a brand new video on them. And I've almost completed the video. Here's where I've had a bit of a hang up, and I realized that I really ought to just ask somebody for some help on this. Here's the Iglesia Ni Cristo website. You can see there's actually a lot of congregations in the United States, especially in places like California, but it is primarily a Filipino denomination. They have this INC directory here, which has the districts by world region. And you can see here's in the Americas, like if I go to Florida here, here's the Florida congregations. There's quite a few of them. If I go to Los Angeles County, you can see a lot of them right there just in LA County. I can come over here and go to see the ones that are in Texas and such. Here's what I want. This is presumably a pretty up-to-date list of all of the INC congregations, and I'd like to have them counted. I want in my video to say how many are in the United States. And the right way to do this, I think, now somebody could literally just go through and count them. That would take a very long time, is probably by web scraping. And if you know what web scraping is, then you probably know that it's capable of that. And if you don't, then this is probably a task too hard for you, though I do wonder if any of the AI tools around today could do this. I just don't know if we'd have to double check that work with a few different tools to make sure it's right, because I don't want to rely on something that is incorrect. I know AI can do some web scraping, but just not sure how far it's got there. But here's the deal. It would need to go to this web page, scrape the number of congregations in each of these districts. In the Philippines region section over here, you'll see you click that, and there's actually links under each of these regions, and then you have the district and the number of congregations. There's a ton in the Philippines, obviously, which is why they've had to divide it up even further. So that's a trick. I'd like to have a count of all the U.S. congregations, all the Philippine congregations, and maybe any other countries where they're the largest ones. Now, it's really interesting. This is probably like a stretch goal if somebody feels they're capable of doing this. But you can see there's also maps. I'd love to have some of that map information. It'd be neat to have things mapped, but I don't know how easy that would be. Anyhow, if you want to help with this project, I have a link in the description and probably a pinned comment that will send you over to the Reddit page for Ready to Harvest. And on that page, we can see if some people show up there and start, and you just don't want a bunch of people to repeat the same work. So that's the first project that is this week. Now, a slightly longer term project that I've been working on is I have a lot of videos that I've wanted to make, and these videos require me to obtain some books to study them out. Like sometimes my primary place, I always just start with the internet, and I'll find ebooks that are free. A lot of denominations, they just want that information to be free, easily obtainable. So I'll use ebooks, I'll use online magazines, I'll scrape through old versions of websites and such. But sometimes it just comes down to books. You got to get books. Like there's nothing else available, and you just have to purchase a book. And I have done that. Well, actually, I think I have one right here. If I still have it, let me check. Maybe I just moved this away recently over to another shelf. But I did have one for the Church of God Mountain Assembly. And sorry about the audio quality. Hey, I said it was going to be a little bit more informal. It was right here. It's gone. I don't know, Church of God Mountain Assembly book, and I purchased that book because I needed it. Same thing. I'm currently working on the Church of God in Christ Mennonite, and I purchased 3 books from them, and one of them was actually rather expensive. And several other cases, Anglican Catholic Church purchased a book to study that one. But the reality is these videos on one denomination, just one denomination only, they often don't get a lot of views. Sometimes they do, but especially specific small denominations, they're not profitable videos. I have come to realize that I could pretty easily chase after topics that only get lots of views, but that's not really my goal. My goal is to make really good videos, including really good videos on obscure denominations, knowing that somebody will want to study this out, and having that information will be very helpful. So I will spend hours and hours and weeks studying something that will get, you might think that 5,000 views or 10,000 views is a lot of views. But if you look into how much like YouTube will pay in advertising money for that, it's obvious that I'm working for, dollars an hour, $2-3 an hour for the amount of work I put in, and it vanishes completely to zero a lot of the time when I have to purchase books in order to do it. And so this actually is a thing that discourages me from studying out some groups I would like to think, well, I need to buy these books. Sometimes they're not very many, just a few books. Sometimes the books are a little bit more on the expensive side. And I just say, well, I'll just study out something else. But I thought maybe there are folks out there who would like to help me purchase some of these books. And so I went pursuing a internet platform that allows people to purchase books for me. And I found this website called Throne. Now, as you see here, it actually has the header for my YouTube channel. It kind of looks like it's a YouTube thing, but it's not. This is throne.com/ready to harvest. I'll also put this link in the description. And the name to me, again, like throne, are they implying I'm sitting on a throne and these people are just buying things from me because I'm a king? I certainly hope not. That's not at all what I'm looking for here. Nobody needs to come here and purchase anything. But if somebody does want to help and purchase a book so I can study something, otherwise I probably will just focus on other topics for now. And so anyhow, this was a website that seemed to do the job well. And so that's why I signed up for it, despite the name, which seemed a little strange. So you can see here's a book on Christian fundamentalism in America. This one here, if you click on any given one, it will say there's a description that I've written about why I want this book. This one is to study Methodist Pentecostals in Chile. This one here is to study Baptist fundamentalism. This one is to study Hope Chapel. I actually want a copy. I don't have, if you can believe it, I've actually had a pretty large collection of Bibles in the past, and I'm pretty sure I did have a old Scofield Study Bible at one point, but I did have to get rid of some of the things that I had to move and give those away. So I'm looking for a copy of the old Scofield Study Bible. Yeah. And then there's a few other things on here. So for example, Invenio is an app that I can use to search through some YouTube channels and find things if I'm really having a hard time finding it. I'm currently trying to study Straightway Ministries, which is a Black Hebrew Israelite group. And the next step I need is to get a subscription to this Invenio app to do that. And this one here is the local churches movement. They have Living Stream Ministry is really the organization that kind of heads up that movement. And they have an online subscription in order to access the book. So I need, and this one here is to pay for a 2-month subscription for me to be able to actually study that out for a couple months. General Baptist, several books that I need to study them. I've actually produced a good portion of a video on General Baptist, but I need to get these books in order to shore up my research. Several books here to study Homestead, Heritage, and so forth. And you can scroll through and see there's other ones on there as well. So if this is something that you're interested to help with and you'd be willing to just buy the book on this website, basically you go through it. I haven't actually tried to use it myself, but as I understand it, you just go through a checkout process, but they send it to me instead of sending it to you. And that's kind of the way that works. I did put a few other things on there. I don't assume anybody, is out there and wants to spend a large amount of money, but I never want to turn down the opportunity if somebody does feel like they want to help in some other way. I put a laptop on there that would really help me in studying things, but that's just kind of a extra thing on there. Since I had this opportunity, I'd put a few other things on there in case anybody was interested in doing that. But the books is really the main reason I have it. 2 other quick things. In case you've come to this video and you maybe haven't seen some other times I've talked about this, I do have readytoharvest.com, which is basically works like Patreon or Subscribestar or some of those other subscription things, or like YouTube memberships. YouTube memberships, though, takes a pretty large cut. I can't even remember if it's like 30-40%. Some of those are. It's just, I just couldn't do that. Instead of doing that, I made my own website. And if you go to readytoharvest.com and click become a member, you can sign up for a monthly subscription. And I'll actually send you some things in the mail. And there's more information if you watch the video that's actually on this page. Just go to readytoharvest.com, click become a member. And of course, if you just want to make a one-time donation, you don't want to deal with anything else, there's a PayPal donate button right there on readytoharvest.com also. So these are some ways that you can help me out. Thanks for anybody who's going to engage in any of these projects and help me continue my work at Ready to Harvest. I'm working hard on a lot of things right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments when these videos are released.